Welcome back. The man President-elect Trump has appointed to be the country's border czar is very clear on his plans to deal with undocumented immigrants once Mr. Trump takes office in January. He spoke with CBS's 60 Minutes correspondent Cecilia Vega in late October.
Well, let me tell you what's not going to be first. It's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous.
But if mass deportation is not going to be, as you said, massive sweeps and concentration camps,
There'll be concentrated,
what is it?
There'll be targeted arrest. We'll know who we're going to arrest, where we're most likely to find them based on numerous investigative processes.
IRIS is a Connecticut group dedicated to helping refugees and immigrants. Maggie Mitchell-Salem is its executive director, and she joins me this morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we just played this clip that said it's not going to be a mass sweep deportation, concentration camps. He says he's heard them all, and it's ridiculous. What are you preparing for?
First, we're trying to help our clients and members of the community that we serve understand what all of this means for them, what they're going to have to do to be prepared, because we don't know what it means. There are a lot of rumors, and there's a lot of fear. And so first, we're trying to build a sense of community. Connecticut is an incredibly welcoming state. We are so fortunate to be here. We have a governor, a legislature, we have local politicians who are all supporting everyone in their community. Connecticut sees its residents as its residents, full stop. Now, when the federal government decides to send ICE, right, the enforcement agency for immigration, into local communities, into schools, into workplaces, this is, creating a lot of fear and uncertainty. And it's happened before, so this is not a theoretical. ICE has come into schools and into communities and caused disruption. So first and foremost, what does the family do? Can you imagine saying to a parent, you need to know who is going to be the guardian for your child if you are taken away? This is the parent of a child who may have legal status here, who may be an American citizen. You are going to leave. What happens to your child? That is something that I think it's hard for most people to understand until they're in the shoes of the people that we're serving.
The people that you're serving are numerous, varied in their backgrounds, varied in how they ended up in this country.
Yep.
Is it an important distinction? Because I think if you talk to the incoming border czar, he would say it is, but I wonder what you think. Is it an important distinction whether you are an undocumented person or someone who's here as a refugee or seeking asylum, or in your eyes, are these just, like you said, residents?
They are residents. There are different legal statuses, as you're indicating, between refugees, between humanitarian parolees, those who are seeking asylum. And what asylum means is that you are seeking the status of a refugee, that if you go home, you will face harm, persecution, or even death. And you have a credible fear of that harm. And so you are asking the United States, under U.S. law and also international law, for the ability to remain here, to remain in safety. You may have temporary protective status, which means you come from one of 16 countries where it is currently unsafe for you to go home: Haiti, Ukraine, and other countries. So that is an important distinction legally. But Connecticut's residents are Connecticut's residents. The undocumented are supporting Connecticut's economy. How? Through taxes. They're working. They're paying taxes. They're paying sales taxes. They're paying payroll taxes in some cases. And if they are paying into the system, you would think, well, they might derive some benefit. A lot of people think that they're taking resources from others, including citizens. They're not. They're not eligible for Social Security. They're not eligible for any of the benefits that their taxes actually pay for. It's kind of crazy.
You talked about going into communities, ICE going into communities, going into schools. One thing that we know happened in the first Trump administration was courthouse sweeps, and that was a frequent target. And not that this is like some secret investigative reporting. They spoke of it very proudly. One of the concerns from groups like yours is that if people are afraid that they'll be picked up at a courthouse, that they won't access the judicial system that's there to protect them from other things like assaults, sexual assaults, things like that.
Exactly.
Is that, how do you deal with that as a leader of an organization like IRIS?
That's the tip of the iceberg. The fear of being arrested if you're going to the courthouse to report a crime. And you want people reporting crimes. What about going to a hospital? What about sending your kids to school? What about accessing other social services for your children or for yourself? And there's a public health harm here, potentially. Imagine someone is getting sick. They're afraid to actually go to the doctor or go to the emergency room because they're worried that they're going to be picked up. And that then infects others. We've just come out of COVID. I know we all forget that we ever went through COVID, but it's a real concern. And it's one of the reasons Connecticut is so amazing in having Husky for Immigrants and Husky for All. And the idea that kids under the age of 15 can access health care. It's for the same exact public health benefit.
We only have a couple minutes left, so I want to ask you two more questions.
Sure.
And the first one I'm sure you get all the time.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, these people are here illegally. They did something wrong. They shouldn't have any rights. How do you respond to that quickly?
So what I respond to that is these are humans. So first, we treat people humanely. There is no reason to be incarcerating people who actually want to contribute to communities. There's not a single person I've met in the year that I've been in this role that does not want to get a job. And in Connecticut, there are thousands of jobs that have gone unfilled, that doesn't want to see their children schooled, succeeding, being able to contribute to their communities. So what I say is, you're dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with objects. And if you can see someone as your neighbor, as a friend, as your kid's friend in school, as the parent of someone in your community, then I think people would think differently, that we can have an immigration system that works and is just and humane.
30 seconds left. I know this past week, Iris hosted a town hall to talk about a lot of these issues, and groups like yours have said education is so important. Will there be more efforts to get that education so people know their rights and know their status ahead of the inauguration?
Absolutely. If you go to our website right now, you'll be able to find a collection of resources that anyone who is interested in helping their neighbor, helping themselves, can access. Know your rights. Understanding family preparedness. The state of Connecticut has a family preparedness plan that is on our website, and it's currently being updated by a statewide coalition of immigrant organizations like ours.
Obviously, there's probably a lot of ideological differences between your organization and the incoming administration. But the one thing that I think both sides would agree on is there's a lot of unknowns. So we appreciate you coming here this morning, talking about this. I know both sides are trying to work through exactly what's going to happen in January.
Right.
Thank you so much for being with us, and we hope you'll come back and talk about it as it plays out.
Sure.